We are talking about focusing on ourselves with George Billionaire.
If you're not disciplined and you don't have laser focus on what you want to become, trust you me, you'll go back and start distributing your CV if you don't have laser focus. Holla holla, it's your boy, George Billionaire. Monday. And you know what Monday is? Monday is that day we gotta get our grind on. So every Monday, we do what's called Hustle Hard. If you don't know about that, look that up and see what Hustle Hard is about. Hustle Hard is about getting that money, getting that paper, getting those things done. And this is my alarm to tell me that it's about that time that we need to get going and doing what we need to do. So in this live today, we're going to be talking about an amazing topic. Focus on you. Now this life is about you. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to come and row your boat. So make sure you watch the full video, and most importantly, don't just be a hearer of this amazing, timeless, priceless knowledge. Make sure you learn, but most importantly, you apply and watch how your life will change. It's your boy, George Billionaire. Let's go.
So I'm looking at the messages on the WhatsApp platform, and Tinotienda says, I used to hate Mondays, but because of Hustle Hard, I now love Mondays. Okay, I see that. Sharon Mkokota, thank you so much for choosing Rare's Heartbeat. And Empress Lee, I hope I said your name correctly, from Avenue. Thank you so much for choosing Rare's Heartbeat. Gokuba Anna Shipa Desert Extension, Mama Medicine Junior, Natalie, Sydney Murato, what's up, my G? Good morning to you. You didn't mention your name. It's afternoon now. Boss Makari, Chipa Waterfalls. Continue to send your messages through the WhatsApp platform 0719 100 404. So I have George Billionaire in studio. I don't think we need to do anything else. We get into the conversation, and I have questions from last week. Hello, welcome.
Holla. Just precious. It's always good to be here on Capital every single Monday. And Just Precious has got some amazing nuggets today. She's going to be, helping us as we go on our usual Monday, Hustle Hard. And our purpose and our mission on Hustle Hard is to transform your mind, to provoke, inspire, and equip all the pulsars who are always listening in. I believe so much that there's a bigger, better purpose that you're supposed to have in life. And majority of people don't know that, or they are still hiding behind the door of fear, and they haven't broken that door in. But our mission here on Hustle Hard is to make you believe in yourself, to know that, listen, if George did it, if Precious did it, even you, a pulsar, can also did it. We are all able to do whatever we put our minds to if we just begin to believe. And that's why we're here every single Monday. Last week, we were going on some amazing topics. We spoke about choices. We spoke about choosing your heart. We spoke about success clues that, other successful people have used. And imagine if you're always hearing us and being motivated, but you are not doing the most important thing, which is acting on these amazing nuggets and principles we are telling you. So don't just be a hearer. I know everybody who's tuning on now, if it's your first time, trust you me, you're at the right place. Take your notebooks out. If you're driving, press record. Make sure you listen to this over and over again, and you actually just begin to apply. I love this amazing quote by the Chinese that says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And that one step is just doing something once, and on the second day, and on the third day. And with Just Precious, we were talking about one of the things that she's done for a year now. She's been bathing with cold water for a year. So imagine that. Once a habit is done repeatedly, it becomes ultimately who you are, and it becomes a lifestyle. So it's important when you begin to understand that all these amazing nuggets, principles that help you to become a better version of yourself, the best way is to apply it. If it means now you're reading a book every single morning, or you're saying, I need to read a book a month, or hey, I know I've got a job And George is always saying that a job, which stands for just over broke, will
Yeah.
never get me to where I want to be.
Mhm.
So why don't I try that side hustle while I'm still at work? When you begin to think like that, you'll be so amazed at what more you can actually achieve, become, and at most you realize in this life that God purposed you, not just to be average. I tell people all the time, Just Precious,
Yeah.
God did not create any of us to be average. I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. When we were born, we were not born losers. For you to be alive, listening to us now, you won a race in your mother's womb,
True.
and you were born a winner. And God's intent and purpose was never for you to live an average life, to live hand to mouth. That's not the intent of God. He sent everybody here for a specific mandate and purpose. And today's topic is going to really unleash and get people to really understand that they were not born to be average. They were born winners. But what they need to do is one thing. And we're going to get into that in a bit after we answer the questions
Yes.
that you have for us.
Okay, so the first question, does everyone have to be an entrepreneur? I love the positivity and drive you give us, but while we can make plans and decisions, it is God who ultimately determines the course of our lives. Strive Masiwa was shown in a dream and he went to Tudor Bismarck and they prayed about Jagaitika. I'm not being negative, but I think we need to keep in mind that God's plans are sovereign. It's not about what we want. I don't think that's a question, but
Well, but that's a good point. And I mean, a lot of people ask me that. If you asked me that many years ago when I was still working, I would have said, I'll never be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm okay being where I am. But one thing that made me want the other side of life, which is what I tell a lot of people, is a word called exposure.
True.
I've said it before and I always say this. You do not know how poor you are until you go to a rich man's house. Right? You'll be exposed to something. Your mind will see things that you did not see before. And then you'll do a self-retrospect and say, wait a minute. If this guy did it, and he started from the bottom, and he didn't have the best education and a university degree, but look at where he is now, it provokes you to actually thinking, but wait a minute, I think I can do this too. So to people who say is entrepreneurship for everybody, it's okay. People settle and they choose the life that they want by the decisions that they make. I chose a decision 12 years ago to become an entrepreneur. I had started before selling freezers, phones, hustling and doing all these little things, but I decided to professionally get into entrepreneurship when things were not adding up. I had twins. I was earning $300. Things were not adding up.
Yeah.
So to people who say that, I would say whoever says that is comfortable and that person hasn't seen the other side of the door of fear or the excuses that they use that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I myself believe that there's an entrepreneur in everybody. Trust you me. And I say to people, if you hang around me long enough, I'll make you begin to see the opportunities that you are letting pass by that are making you remain where you are today. So a lot of people are so confident in their job, right? Their job, which makes them just over broke. True. You know, a lot of people say, no, George, you're being a bit this, that, and the other, but it's fact. You will never, ever become rich with a job. You won't. But if you increase your streams of income, and yes, you have a job, and you start a side hustle, you'll find if you give your side hustle as much time and effort after work, or even, delegating somebody else to run an enterprise you'll begin to see that side hustle is actually paying you more than your job. And then you're actually going to leave your job and do that full time, so that can actually take care of you in the long term. A thing called a job, Just Precious, I'm gonna really elaborate on this. It's not guaranteed that you're going to be where you're working now for the next 10, 20 years.
True.
Right? When you then leave, realistically speaking, the package you get will never equate to the amount of time and effort you put into it. But imagine if you put in a lot of time and effort in building up a business that you start, you will then eat the rewards of that thing that you would have started. We saw it over COVID, how so many people lost their jobs. There's so many people growing. There's so many other people now graduating. Companies want new blood. Companies want people with new ideas. So this job that you have, that you're holding on to, it's only a matter of time until automation comes in.
Yeah.
A new graduate has come into the organization. They have bright ideas. They're more efficient than you. Then your job is going to go. What are you going to do from there? So to people who say that, I've been asked that so many times. I run a mentorship program, and a lot of people come and ask that. And they say, is everybody supposed to be? Who's going to work for who?
Yeah.
Trust you me, I've been asked that so many times. But I promise you, every person who is successful, who I know, started off working for somebody else before they began theirs. The only difference is the choices, the lifestyle, the life that they want. So to people who are comfortable, it's okay, stay there. But to those few who want the extra life, the abundance, they are hungrier than everybody else. Those are the ones that become the risk takers, the ones who do what everybody else is not doing, which is why then they ultimately get what everybody else is not getting. So that's basically my answer in entrepreneurship. He or she who believes they can be an entrepreneur, trust you me, I was never an entrepreneur, but I hung around entrepreneurs and I ultimately became an entrepreneur. Things I didn't know, I learned from those people who were around me. So everything on this planet can be teachable and learned. There's nobody who is born an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You learn to become it. You were not born a DJ. You learned it. So every single thing, according to what you want in your life, is teachable. And if you're a sponge and you absorb, you can learn anything.
True.
And once you understand, I say this all the time, I'm going to say it again, artificial intelligence is coming.
Yeah.
We don't longer go back to the banks anymore because we can do everything on our phone. Very soon, the restaurants, we've got those people who are working as waiters. Very soon, in the first world countries, you order whatever you want on a tablet and your stuff is delivered by a robot.
Yeah.
In America now, the first automated fast food outlet, it's there. When you go to a service station, same thing. Your accounting processes now, all you just need to do is upload things onto an app. So everybody who says this, trust you me, you will understand sooner than later that yes, you may say it's not for everybody, but it's a benefit to you to rely on not just one stream of income. Our purpose and mandate here is not to get everybody to resign and start and become an entrepreneur, but just start a side hustle. Give it as much time and effort like you do at work. Sooner than later, you'll begin to see that, wait a minute, this thing here can actually pay my whole wage and salary within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What if I gave it my full time? You'll be surprised and surpassed by what you can do.
Right. And second question, I failed to prove the people who spoke against me wrong and I'm at my end. How do I recover from being a constant laughing stock?
Wow. Okay. So in life, Precious, trust you me, there's always people who are going to laugh when you want to do something different. I always give myself an example. When I began Pro Air in 2012, there were a lot of people who laughed at me, who said, you're not educated enough. You're too young. Look at the people who are running other air conditioning companies. You don't have the expertise. Where are you going to get the clientele from? A lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important things in this life is to understand that everybody has a specific course of action that they're supposed to pursue in life. And everybody who became great, it doesn't matter what they are. Even you, Just Precious, when you began to go this journey of becoming a DJ, even Ja Praiser, when he wanted to begin the journey of singing, even Alec Machesto, even Strive Masiwa, even whoever it is, Usain Bolt, Cristiano Ronaldo, whoever you think of, when they began their journey, a lot of people mocked them. They laughed at them. But for me, it's a test of self-belief and character. I always say to people, if you want to provoke me, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what I can't do and I'll prove you wrong. I've always been that person who I don't live according to the opinions of people, because people will always have their own view of what your life should be.
True.
And those people, if you really analyze them, they're not doing anything really productive with their own lives. They're focusing on you and not themselves. So when I started my journey, my own dad, I love him, salute to Nicodemus Munengwa, the one who financed my first business, Tema Freezers. But when I wanted to get into entrepreneurship, he himself was not an entrepreneur. So he tried to instill that fear of, no, stay at your work. He wanted to try and keep me in a box. But then I had my specific course of life that I was supposed to pursue.
Yeah.
So when you see people laughing at you, you need to change your association. You need to change who you're listening to. And I remember, my dad had a dream, and he said, George, Narotawa nehembe dzakabvaruka, and you're staying with me and your wife at my house. Please just stay at work. But imagine, had I listened to my dad, had I listened to the ridicule of so many people who had said it's not going to work, had I listened to, so many, I wouldn't be here today. So when people ridicule you, your self-talk should be stronger than what people think about you.
True.
You have to look at them, not even respond back, but change the people who you are talking to. When you have a dream and a vision of starting a business, be around people who are putting some coal in your fire to encourage you. I dislike and I disfriend people who don't encourage me with what I want to do. There's good advice. You can never ask somebody who's never run a business on advice on business. But you can ask somebody who's been seasoned in something, what it is that you can do, how best you think I should do this, and they'll advise you wisely. So to all those who, are being ridiculed and laughed at, trust you me, now they're doing that. But when you become successful, I remember when I was getting so many awards with my dad, and I remember sometimes we went and we met the president and we shook hands. It's like, wow, imagine, this is you now. I was like, but do you remember, Mdara Magambonditi Dichazo die. Shakanzi, no, you know what? We laughed it off. Sometime you followed your own gut and look where you are. It seems funny, but trust you me, had I listened to that voice, I wouldn't be where I am today. So to people who are ridiculing you, they're ridiculing now. But when you're getting awards, those are the people who are going to clap and be like, wow. So whenever people belittle you, always have that inner self-talk. Have that belief, have that inner talk that pushes you to say, you know what, I know it's going to work. I know. I may fall down 6, 7, 8 times, but I'm not going to stay down. I'm going to keep going until I reach the place that I want to be. And those people, you'll find they are not doing anything productive. They're comfortable. But you are trying to do something outside the box. And they are not. So you know what, as long as somebody is not doing anything that's updating their life or improving their standard of living, don't give a hoot about them. Just know that, okay, that's who they are, and make sure in your mind, say, I'm going to prove them wrong by becoming what they said I wouldn't be.
True.
Yeah.
All right, so as we get into today's topic, focus on yourself and not others. I think in our everyday lives, it's very easy for us to forget ourselves, because we have very important people in our lives that bring us so much joy. And if you neglect others, obviously, if you neglect yourself, you end up being confused about what to do and what not to do. So today we're going to be talking about focusing on ourselves and not others. And if you have any questions, do hit us up on the WhatsApp platform. The number is 0719 100 404. It's 22 minutes to 1. You tuned into Capitec 100.4 FM Harare's Heartbeat. We are talking about focusing on ourselves with George Billionaire. Do send your messages through the WhatsApp platform. The number is 0719 100 404. And pulse check for today: focus on yourself and don't get lost in other people. So, the first question I have is, what does focusing on ourselves, on myself, mean?
Okay, so focus is of paramount importance. If especially you're going to become something in life. And due to the social media pressures, there's so much happening in the world today. There's so many people who are distracted in not knowing who they are, and they're so focused on everybody else.
True.
If you hear what comes out of people's mouths, and they're talking about everybody else, this and that happened to so and so, people don't have focus on themselves because they're focusing on other people. Now, the moment you begin to have a laser focus on what you want to become yourself, you can actually align and direct what you need to do in order to achieve those things.
Yeah.
So many things in life today are distractions, and that's causing people not to achieve their own goals and become who they want to be.
True.
You know, just precious, like when we began saying, when we were born winners. We're born with a specific purpose and mandate.
Yeah.
And if you understand and realize, people who have been written down in the history books had amazing laser focus and, you know, self-actualization on who they are supposed to be. You know, I talk about the likes of the greatest boxer ever. You know, there are a couple of them, but Muhammad Ali, you know, he focused on, at a young age, he called himself, I am the greatest. Right? I'm going to be the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He went into the gym and he boxed and he focused on that thing, laser focused on that specific thing that was going to make him great. And he worked on that craft until ultimately he became the greatest.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't let the opinions of people, he didn't let what anybody else said. He didn't have time to look at what everybody else was doing. He knew that in order for me to reach my goal, I have to look ahead, not left or right, right?
Yeah.
But to focus on what I want to become. So when you have focus in life, you actually begin to achieve a whole lot more by realizing that, you know what, I want Pro Air to be the top leading air conditioning company. What am I going to do? I'm going to sacrifice the immediate now from what everybody else is doing. Others are partying, they're going, they're buying all these unnecessary things which are distracting. But for me, I know what I want to do. I have a family, I have things, I have goals I want to achieve, and I'm focusing on me, right?
Yeah.
But majority of people focus on others. When you cannot write down things that you want to do in your own life, trust you me, urungorarama chero upenyu, chamuka inyama, you don't have direct focus, right? You don't have a plan. You know, when you're building a house, the first thing you do before you build a house is to get a plan of that house. They send you a 3D, they say this is what you're going to be. Now imagine in your life, what do you see yourself as in 5, 10 years from now, right? Do you have the laser focus to wake up every single day and go to the gym to get that thing that you've said in your mind you want? Are you going to become an entrepreneur so that you are able to take care of that family and children you have and take them to the good schools, have a good life, go on holidays? That begins with laser focus and focusing on you. Everybody, you know, has an ideology of where they want to be in life, right?
Yeah.
But then the moment you don't have one, whatever life happens to you is okay. And today, when you focus on yourself and not others, it's important. You know, we can have so much motivational talk, inspiration talk, some nuggets. But think about this. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? What do you want to have? What lifestyle do you want to live? Where do you actually want to reside and say this is home? What car do you want to drive? All these questions are questions that bring ideas in your head. And if you haven't thought about this, what is your focus? You're focusing too much on the economy, the country, politics. It's winter, it's cold, but you're not focusing on you. To people who ever get things done, there are people who have serious self-retrospect. They have goals down. You know, there's nothing as old school and something that brings success as much as writing goals down and actually executing them. And to he or she who executes simple things such as goals, they are the ones that get the results that others don't get. But that begins when you focus on you. You know, in this life, I encourage everybody to be very selfish. The most important person on this life is YOU. you have to take care of yourself first. You have to make sure that you are going to live the life that you want. But what's going to make you live that life that you want are the deliberate choices you make to focus on you, to help yourself become what you want to be. And in this world with so much distractions, there are people now who in business, they can get a huge amount of money, right? And then what do? Because of social media pressures, they're going to go and buy unnecessary things, buy a new car, travel, spend that money recklessly. But if you have a focused life and you're focusing on you, you'll know that, okay, I can't buy that expensive car before I have a house. I can't do this before I do this. You're focusing on yourself and not others' opinions about how you should live your life. So it's important that, everybody who's listening out there, if ever you're going to become great, trust you me, going to the gym is not easy. But you're focusing on you because there's specific things you want. There's a body you want. There's a lifestyle that you want, right? When you're going to become an entrepreneur, people will laugh at you. I say this all the time. Entrepreneurship is not easy for those who want to come on it. If you're not disciplined and you don't have laser focus on what you want to become, trust you me, you'll go back and start distributing your CV if you don't have laser focus. Because once you start getting money, you may think that all that money is profit, but it needs to be put back into the business. And you need to have laser focus on growing it, not just for you, but growing it so it becomes an empire and it has structures and it can go on to the next generation. So it's important for everybody to have focus. It's important for everybody to really have written down goals. I know people say, New Year's resolution, goals, it doesn't work. But even organizations have set targets. Those are goals. And you have to meet those goals in order for a business to exist. And imagine in your life, urungo raramanje, hauna kana ambition yakuti this year you want to do this. I want to buy bricks, I want to build, I want to take my kids to this school. You gotta have some focus if ever whatever you want to become in life is actually going to become reality.
So I think I'm going to ask this. I believe most young people are losing focus on themselves because of social media. As a young person, speaking for myself, how does one block what they are seeing on social media? Because as much as we say you're supposed to focus on yourself, there's that thing that makes you feel, I'm so behind, or they're doing better than me. How do I block all of that and just focus on me?
The simple way to do that is to actually understand that what you're seeing on social media, you've watched a movie, Just Precious, right? Imagine watching a movie just before it ends, and then you begin to see the trailers, and you see this guy, finally, he bought the car he wanted, he got married, and they lived happily ever after. But did you watch the beginning of that movie? You didn't. And what do you always see on social media? You're only seeing the good things. You're not seeing the hardships. There's nobody on social media who I've ever seen who has posted a time when they were broke, busted, sleeping on the floor, etc. Social media is there to impress. And on social media, it gives a false impression that success happens overnight. Right? And this is the challenge with our youth today, because they think, no, get rich quick scheme. If you put $1,000 today, you're going to have $100,000 next month. There's nothing like that. So every great thing that you see on social media took time. Right? Don't be that youth, that young person, even with older people. Trust me, there's a lot of pressure these days with what's out there. And we can't live on people's pressures. This is why you need to identify, most importantly, what is it that you want. Reflect on what you actually want. Right? You may see everybody else succeeding, flying to Dubai, buying a new car, all this. But understand, they are only getting a reward for the seed they sowed, kudara. They've hustled 10, 20 years in a business, and now they're rewarding themselves. And you think, no, I'm behind. In this life, there's no competition. There's none. The only competition that you should ever have in becoming a better person than you were yesterday. And you should never compare yourself to me. Because if you do that, Just Precious, imagine, you can never compare yourself to me. because I've been there longer than you, right? I've taken far more risk than you. The best thing is to actually try and learn, what did this person do? Every great thing that exists on this planet takes time. If you see somebody becoming an overnight success and there hasn't been a process, there's going to be a big hurdle ahead where that person's not actually going to sustain the wealth that they have. So it's important that we realize that don't ever compare yourself to anybody. If you see somebody who's bought a new car, that's great. You don't know what that person is doing.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
The people who have many streams of income, and you're trying to compare your single income and say, and now you start doing things which are not right to try and meet up with people, then you exhaust yourself, you hinder the potential that you could have had by now doing illegal things. You're doing things which you're not supposed to do.
True.
Instead of going through the process.
Yeah.
So instead of us envying others, it's always important to understand. And one thing I've understood at a young age, and what helped me, I grew up listening to Strive Masiwa, Nigel Chanakira, Dr. Philip Chiangwa, and all these amazing international speakers all over the world. And they told you that if you put a little on a little, soon it will become something.
Yeah.
There's no get-rich-quick scheme. There's no microwave solution to success. You have to till the soil, and the harvest will come.
Yeah.
There's a process. So let's not be swayed left or right as the youth and as people, especially us Africans. We like to put ourselves under immense pressure. Our neighbors got a new car. Now you want to give pressure on your husband to say, look, he did this for her. Why aren't you doing this? Let's live within our means.
True.
Let's always go back to that plan that we had. If our plan is we want to build this year and we are delaying personal gratification, let's finish building our house and have a house over our head.
Yeah.
The cars, the luxuries will always come with time. I always say flowers blossom at different stages. When you see the jacaranda all purple and all the other trees are not blossoming, trust me, you can get very envious of the jacaranda tree. But in due time, your season is going to come too. The most important thing is just keep working hard at whatever you're doing, and you too will begin to blossom and yield those fruits. So never compare yourself to people. Never equate yourself to anybody. Don't be pressured to get the latest this, that, and the other just because you saw somebody else who you went to school or your neighbor or whoever has. All things take time, and your time will come. Just give it a little bit of time, and sooner than later,
All right.
it's going to be happening.
So I have a question coming from Natasha. She says, how do I focus on myself? And when I focus on myself, am I supposed to ignore everybody else?
I said that with the story I told you about when I started.
Yeah.
And my dad said this, that, and the other. I believe so much in whatever you hang around ultimately defines who you will become. And all great people, like I said, were ridiculed, were laughed at. And that's why I say the journey of entrepreneurship for all entrepreneurs listening, it's a very lonely journey.
True.
If you're a people pleaser, you'll never become a successful entrepreneur. Because there are times you have to do some serious self-respect, retrospect. Everybody wants to go out, and Just Precious is trying to grind on a hustle, and after work she's trying to grind on that side hustle. You don't have as much time. People want you to, hey, let's go out, let's hang out. So you have to really understand that all great people who I knew isolated themselves and focused on themselves. They worked on their craft. The person who invented the light bulb, Thomas Edison, he didn't have a lot of friends. And what he was doing, he was focusing on creating what we now benefit from as the light bulb. A lot of people like, hey, let's go out. And he was trying this, it got burnt. He tried again 1,000 times. Until now, if you look at his generation, all you know is Thomas Edison. There's nobody else in that generation you'll remember, because he isolated himself and he fulfilled the purpose that he wanted to achieve. Same with Alexander Graham Bell. Same with all these people who came up with great inventions. Same with Steve Jobs, same with Jack Ma, same with Strive Masiwa, Philip Mataranika, all these great entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You have to have that me time. I say it all the time. and it's not going to make you popular. It's actually a very lonely space. But you have to hang around with similar-minded people who are going to help you to nurture that gift that's inside of you, to ultimately become the best version of yourself. And it's not everybody who's going to cheer you on. Sometimes you are your own greatest cheerleader. Trust you me. So it's important you realize that, yes, you have to focus on yourself. Don't worry about all these other friends and what everybody else is saying.
Right. So some could call it being selfish, but what exactly can I call it when I focus on myself?
It's not selfish. It's about what you want. What's your why in life?
Yeah.
You know, I keep saying to people, what is your why? Why do you want to be successful? It's a choice, right?
Yeah.
You want to be financially free. You want to be able to travel. You want to build your own house. You want all these things. But that comes with deliberate focus on, number one, yourself, and number two, what you want to do, right? And it's selfish, true. But like I said when we began the show, you have to have laser focus on yourself. It's not being selfish.
True.
Trust you me, like I said, you'll be celebrated in public for what you did in private because of your focus. Many people who get accolades, who win awards, who win races, who win all these Grammys and all these things, they deliberately focused on their craft, on their crafts, on what they wanted to be. And ultimately they achieved it. Then people clapped for them and everything.
Yeah.
But whilst they were working out, it wasn't nice to go another lap, to stay in practice, to people looking for you and saying, where are you? You never come out. You're so antisocial. It's okay to be antisocial if you're focusing on a craft that's going to cater for the needs of the whole wide world. You know, I love the story of Steve Jobs, an amazing man. Because of him, the whole world is benefiting from the handheld devices we're using.
True.
Imagine that. He's one person who specifically said, I don't want any buttons on a mobile device. And imagine now, even in cars, everything is touch, touch, touch. But that was one person who decided to isolate himself in a specific thing. And look how he's revolutionized the whole world. So when we now zoom on you, Just Precious, and the Pulsars listening, what is it that you were sent on this planet to provide a solution or a service that's going to revolutionize the whole world? That's what you need to look at. And that's what you need to have laser focus on. We've got amazing singers. They are focusing on their craft and they are providing a service, and people go and pay them to go and watch their shows, right?
Yeah.
We have businesses which are providing a product and service. They focused on that and they're getting something in return. So whoever who's listening to us today, what is it that you are providing, that you are focusing on, that's making you become uniquely you, and that people can provide money in exchange for whatever you're offering?
All right. If you have any questions, do send them on the WhatsApp platform 0719 100 404. It is 3 minutes to 1. And what are we going to say as we close things up?
It's important, quickly, if we've got a pen and paper, 11 ways that you can actually help and focus on yourself. Number one, imagine yourself in the future, right? Look at yourself. What do you want to be in the future? You gotta have that pictorial view of what you want to be. Remember, Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest in the whole wide world.
True.
And ultimately, he became that. 2, figure out where to start. Where you gonna start? Greatest secret to getting ahead is starting now. Where you gonna start? Start right now. Write things down and begin to start. Number 3, check in with yourself regularly. Where are you? Are the things that you said, are you doing them? Are you constantly becoming a better individual? If yes, let's keep going. Number 4, talk to yourself in a positive way.
All
Right? Who are you? I'm a winner. I'm a champion. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm a successful entrepreneur. I'm a history maker. The opinions of people, the talk of people should never ever clutter who you see yourself as. Never forget Muhammad Ali. He's one person I looked at. Cristiano Ronaldo does the same thing.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt did the same thing. Serena Williams did the same thing. Tiger Woods, their inner self-talk differentiates them to help them to be that encouragement when they need to get ahead. Right? Be specific about what you want.
True.
Be specific. Reflect on what you want what you actually want. Right? Reflect. What is it that you want? What life do you want?
Yeah.
These are all things that can help you to focus on yourself. What do you want? What lifestyle do you want? Where do you want to go? Focus on your basic needs. I can't emphasize on that. A lot of people now, because of pressure, they want to focus on looking good instead of living simple and focusing on growing and giving resource to the business, that thing that's going to help you to become better. Right? Avoid people who tell you you can't. Do not hang around with chickens. Do not hang around with bad associates. People who are not going to, help you become what you want to be.
True.
And when you do this, I can guarantee you, you're going to focus on yourself. You're going to become the best version of yourself. And ultimately, you're going to become an individual that knows exactly what you're supposed to do. So focus on yourself and not anybody else. In this life, you were created a winner. You were born a winner. And I believe that there's a winner and a champion in you. If you become very deliberately selfish and you focus on yourself, you can achieve a whole lot more.
That is Capital 100.4 FM, that is Heartbeat, and that was Hustle Hard.